I have awoken.
Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Greetings and welcome to our Sunday night Army List Review live stream. Hello everybody in chat. How are you doing? A couple of bits of news that we should touch on real quick before we get out into army lists tonight. Bit of information. One was this was posted on Warhammer community just a few hours ago. Combat Patrol Blood Angels, which is 10 Assault Intercessors, the Blood Angels Captain, 6 Sanguinary Guard, and they will be on pre-order next Saturday. I guess it's midnight in America and it's morning in UK. So the Shining Host of Baal, head to the world of Warhammer 40,000, small units, or small unit action with the release of the brand new improved Combat Patrol, starring the brand new Blood Angels Captain, 6 Elite Sanguinary Guard. This powerful assemblage of close combat supremacy is backed up by 10 Assault Intercessors, which come with 2 sets of upgrades and the transfer sheet of 540 individual decals. And what's interesting with this is I actually have the transfer sheet. Someone was kind enough to show it over on Reddit this afternoon, I guess. So this is the transfer sheet that comes with the Sanguinary Guard. So if you buy the individual box of the Sanguinary Guard, apparently you get one of these for 3 Sanguinary Guard. I don't know why you're getting 540 transfer sheets with only 3 models, including like vehicle markings and crap like that. But that's what they've done. So if you buy the Combat Patrol, you're going to get 2 of these. So most of these bits we probably saw on the Death Company box that was released recently. I know it's not the highest quality, but it does seem like it is a significant transfer sheet. You've got all your vehicle numbers, you've got all your chapter numbers, you've got the skulls. Have you got knee pad transfers? I mean, these look... I'm not entirely sure if you do have knee pads transfers, actually. So maybe you don't have... I mean, these would fit on your knees. Maybe you've got a couple of small blood drops. But you don't have the sort of standard... Oh, no, you do. There's here. Sorry, squad markings. Yeah, you've got loads of them. So you've got knee pads, you've got tons of shoulders, you've got tons of Death Company. These look new. Yellow skulls. We haven't really seen yellow skulls before. And then you've got some flesh tearers, more chapter markings, vehicle markings. This is a pretty decent transfer sheet. It feels like it's a lot better than the upgrade sprue. We've been over the upgrade sprue a lot. So this will be on pre-order on Saturday, this coming week. Matthew says, don't see Lamenters, lame. Are you a Lamenters player, Matthew, are you? I mean, you've got Angels Vermilion, Angels Incarnate, Angels Sanguine, and you've got Flesh Tearers. These vampire ones are pretty interesting. We haven't seen those before. They're pretty big as well. I guess these are shoulder pads that are like vampiric. So you're gonna get a fair few. I'm not sure we've seen black skulls as well. So these could be, if you painted your shoulder pads red, you could put a black skull on them. I've seen white skulls. I'm not entirely sure I've seen black skulls. Transfer sheet looks okay, so you're gonna get this in the Combat Patrol, so that's decent. I expect a lot of people are waiting to buy the Combat Patrol as opposed to buying the individual boxes. I know I have. It's Angels Sanguine and Angels Incarnate. I'm not really a huge follower of these 2 successor chapters. And I've only played Flesh Tearers a handful of times. Yeah, but it's a bit sad. I mean, I guess the point being that you can take that captain and you can make him a successor captain, right? Because they got rid of Gabriel Seth. So you can use him to build your successor captain, and he can take a chainsword, a bit like Gabriel Seth. Okay, so yeah, there's your transfer sheet. You can go and see it on Reddit if you want. It's there on the front page. And then if you are pre-ordering on Saturday, of course, there's some affiliate links you can use in all my video descriptions. I do really appreciate it if we do that. Let's get into army lists then. That's what we're here for. Hello everybody in chat. We've got, how many people watching tonight? 73. Nice. Okay, cool. We got lots of people in chat. If you guys get 2 seconds during the stream, please remember to click like button. It really does help me out. Thank you. Okay, so Johnny Milan is the first list tonight. He'd love your opinion. It's a second Blood Angels list, the first being more lag / Blood Angel specific, but I still enjoy Gladius for fire discipline, Versatility. Okay, so we're going to see we don't see very many people do Gladius these days, so interesting. The aggressors are with the biologist and the repulsor. The company heroes are in the executioner, and the 2 blade guard squads are in the redeemer. One led by a chaplain, the other led by a judicator. If I was running Gladius, I'd probably... yeah, okay. I was going to say I'd probably do something like that. The heavy intercessors for the home field objective. I feel like infiltrators are just a stronger choice. They're the same points. They're a stronger choice. The 2 5-man Storm Shield Van vets for deep strike point scoring. Trying to get as much bang for my buck as possible, and having my fire support doubling as transports. The tactical advantage is appreciated. Okay, let's try and get into this list. Will Wargame Portal carry the combat patrol? I think they will. I emailed them before the last round of Blood Angels stuff. TY Green Goblin, and the guy said that he'd made a huge order. Whether or not Games Workshop supply him the entire order is, like, he can't choose, but he did order, like, a ton of the last Blood Angel stuff, so I imagine they'll have the combat patrol. Hello, McFatson, we just started. It's nice to see they're not making us wait months before the combat patrol. Yeah. The combat patrol for me is going to be like a Christmas project or whatnot. I actually did finish my assault intercessors today, and I'd spray some of these Grey Tide, what were they called? Grey Tide Eviscerator guys last night. So I'll get to painting them on my next army stream. Okay, so Gladius. I haven't played Gladius probably in I think it was November last year. Bloody hell. So yeah, I've probably not played Gladius about 11 months at this point, so let me see what we've got. We've got the Apothecary with Fire Discipline, we've got a Captain with a Plasma Pistol and Power Fist, we've got a Chaplain, and we've got a Judicator. So we've got the squad of Heavy Intercessors. I do like Heavy Intercessors, but I think if you're going to use them for your home field, you're just always better using Infiltrators. Take it from someone that played Heavy Intercessors to a tournament and then switched to Infiltrators, and after switching actually won the damn tournament. So I do think that you're just better taking Infiltrators. I think the aggressors are cool, especially attached to the biologist with Fire Discipline. If you don't know what that gives you, it basically gives your aggressors the ability to burst on 5s and 6s, and I think they get lethal hits on 5s and 6s as well. And also you can give them ignore cover and AP, so you can get a boatload of lethal hits at like AP2 ignore cover. It's a pretty good squad, the aggressors, but it's a CP heavy squad, right? Like you want to be spending like 2 CP on them pretty much every turn, because you need to put them in forget the name of the doctrine. The heavy doctrine, I think you've got to put them in. And you've got to pay 1 CP for their ignore cover extra AP as well. So they're super expensive in terms of command points. You're going to need to spend like all your command points on the aggressor unit, which is not ideal. One way you can get around that is if you attach the captain, that gives them a free stratagem. Thanks, Mike. Devastator Doctrine. It's been a while since, like I said, it's 11 months since I've played. So yeah, I like to attach, if I was going to run the aggressor apothecary bomb, if you want to call it a bomb, because it kind of is, it comes out and it bombs 1 unit, I think it's worth attaching a captain to get the free stratagem, so you only have to spend 1 CP on them the entire game, and you basically save yourself 5 CP throughout the game, because they do want to be in Devastator Doctrine all the time, and they do actually want to take your Oath of Moment as well. So it's like you actually have to drop 3 buffs on that aggressor unit. It's a very, very strong unit if you drop all 3 buffs on it, but the second you start scrimping on the buffs, and I've done that before, I've been in games where I've scrimped with the aggressors, the second you start scrimping on the buffs, they very quickly fall off. They kind of need all 3 buffs on them all the time, but if they have all 3 buffs on them, they're very good. 2 squads of Blade Guard, squad of Company Heroes, a Redeemer, a Repulsor, an Executioner, double Vanguard Veteran squad. Okay, I think the Redeemer is too expensive these days. 285 points for Flamers with no AP feels too expensive these days. But I guess if you're trying to put 2 squads of Blade Guard inside You could run a regular Land Raider, save like 40 points, put the company heroes with the Blade Guard inside. That would be enough space. The Repulsor's alright. I dislike the Repulsor Executioner, but I mean, I guess it makes sense in this. Alright, because you've got the company heroes inside the Executioner, yeah, so you couldn't switch it around the other way. Do you know what? If it was me, I'd probably, if I was saving 40 points on that Land Raider, or 45, I'd probably switch this into a Gladiator Lancer and an Impulsor, because I think the Lancer is better than the Executioner, the Impulsor gives you the bigger transport capacity, and it would give you one more unit on the tabletop, so I'd probably do that. Is this a Blood Angels list? It's Gladius. So we've got double Vanguard vets. I'd probably swap, like I said, the Executioner is actually a hard unit to play because you kind of want to remain stationary with it all the time so it gets this heavy benefit because it doesn't have any baked in rerolls like Gladius. Like the Lancer, and you're not going to be using your Oath of the Moment on the Executioner because you need to use your Oath of the Moment on the aggressors. Double Blade Guard, company heroes seems fine. I think the Redeemer is overcosted now and it's kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of how competitive it might be. Another unit that can do actions like an Impulsor in this list wouldn't hurt at all. I would swap out this for Squad of Infiltrators for sure. And who's this captain with? Oh, he's with the company heroes. Alright, you've got no choice. Yeah, the captain has to go with the company heroes. Okay, I mean, it's not too bad a Gladius list. It's got a good range of shooting. It's got a good range of melee. If it had infiltrators, it could potentially be good. I just don't know if I think Gladius is as strong as Liberator Assault Group at the moment. And while the aggressor combo is really strong, like in the aggressors with that apothecary will likely they can kill a lot of stuff. They are pretty vulnerable and they are pretty slow. And I mean, they're still a good unit, right? When they get charged, they have a lot of twin-linked power fists, so if the enemy charges into them, you can still kill a lot of stuff. Their Overwatch can be pretty good as well with Oath of the Moment. Yeah, this list is missing something Blood Angels. There's no Death Company and there's no Sanguinary Guard. I think it's an okay Gladius list. I just don't know if I can necessarily improve it too much. When I was running Gladius, I did really like running small 5-man units of Death Company with chaplains because it felt like they were cheap and they have +1 to wound and they were pretty useful. So, and fast-moving units are pretty useful. So maybe that could be a switch out. But I also think the Repulsor Executioner switch out for a Gladiator Lancer is a lot better. And we don't see the Land Raider Redeemer. It was kind of starting to fall away a little bit, but since they put it to 285 points, very, very few people are running it. It's so expensive, man. If I had like a 5-up invulnerable save, I'd pay 285 points for it, maybe. But where it stands right now at 285, it's just too much. Hello Ryan, hello Quicks. War Thunder, what unit do you recommend for objective control? So the tournament that I played in, one of the units that I really liked for OC was the Company Heroes, man. Because they're -1 to wound, they're super cheap, and they are 2 OC per model. And they still have OC if they're battle shocked, right? Because the guy's holding the banner. So, Gary says, I feel like people overlook the Blade Guard Ancient as an option for making... Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with... Ancients with banners are not bad for OC because you still hold shit even when you're battle shocked. And I'm a little bit sad that my current list doesn't have company heroes in it because the company heroes, honestly, for me, were one of like my standouts in the last GT that I played at. They're so durable. They're just always lingering around. They're always providing good amounts of OC. I highly recommend them. At the moment as well, though, Sanguinary Guard with Dante are going to be pretty good with OC as well in the new book. I suppose it just depends, right? Greeting Alex, how you doing? Mike says, I always like the bolter discipline character paired with incursors too for the 2+ to hit. I suppose that's a good point, Mike, that if you do have the bolter discipline in your list, having a unit of incursors can make them +1 to hit. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad, is it? You're going to probably want to fish for 5s and 6s, but when you're fishing for 5s and 6s with your reroll, 2+ to hit does still help, right? Hello, Foz, how you doing? Do we know yet if the Sanguinary Guard banner must be on a spear? I mean, rules as written in the Codex, it doesn't need to be on a spear. I think I've seen on Reddit a couple of people, like, rules as written in the Codex, it doesn't need to be on a spear, Toasty. So, I don't think it needs to be. But I guess we'll see if they FAQ that. Alright, we're looking at Walking Death 69's list next. He's got Astaroth, he's got a Chaplain on foot with Rage-Fueled Warrior. He has Dante. We got 2 squads of Assault Intercessors on foot. We have 1 Impulsor. We have 2 squads of Assault Intercessors with jump packs. We have the 6th Death Company. I guess they're potentially attached to that. Sorry, 6th Death Company. 6th Blade Guard attached to the Chaplain. He's given that Chaplain Rage Fueled. I would love it if you could give that Chaplain the Fight First enhancement. I think it's so good with the Blade Guard. But I mean, I guess if they're coming out of the Impulsor, maybe it's not the end of the world. You get the 10 Death Company, you've got double Gladiator Lancer, you've got the unit of Infiltrators, you got double Outriders, and you've got Sanguinary Guard. Do you know what's interesting is we talked to the other week. Johnny, you're more than welcome, no problem. Hopefully I give you some advice. Gladius is fine, but I think the Blood Angels attachment kind of it just outperforms it these days. We don't really see too many people in Blood Angels doing Gladius anymore. You know, we talked the other week about lists with 2 of the same units being pretty strong, right? Like 2 Assault Intercessors with jump packs. 2 Assault Intercessors on foot, 2 with jump packs, 2 Lancers, 2 Outriders. You got 1 Death Company, you got 1 Sanguinary Guard, you got 1 Blade Guard. That's exactly what I'm running in my list in terms of damage output, right? Like, my melee at the moment is 110 Sanguinary Guard with Astaroth, 110, or 1/6, I guess they are now, Sanguinary... What did I say? 110 Death Company with Astaroth, 1/6 Sanguinary Guard with Dante, 1/6 Blade Guard with a Chaplain. You do those 3 combos, like, so that you have the exact same 3 characters in your list as the list that I've played 3 times now, Walking Death. My list has 2 Outriders, my list has 2 jump back Assault Intercessors. So what is the actual my list has a single Impulsor. My list has Infiltrators. So what is the difference between our lists here then? I think the only difference is I do not have the 2nd squad of Assault Intercessors. I do not have 2 Lancers. I have a Repulsor, I have a Predator Destructor, which when you put them together, Repulsors and a Predator Destructor are basically identical to Lancers in terms of points, right? It's 310 points versus 320. So I must just have 1 more unit of guys. What is my 1 more unit of guys? What do I not have here? Double Outrider. Double Jump Assault Intercessor. I don't know what's the difference. I'm going to check. Sorry, just give me 1 sec. Because... Oh, I've got Centurions. Of course I do. I've got a unit of Centurions. So I've got a unit of Centurions. He has... an extra unit of Assault Intercessors. Okay. I mean, this list is very interesting. Like, right? Like, I haven't played Double Lancer, but I feel like Double Lancer is very good, right? Double Outrider as well is also obviously very good. I've played it a lot. I feel like it certainly adds a lot to early game scoring. Outriders are cheap, they're durable, you can throw them away, you can trade them into enemies pretty easily, you don't need to worry too much about them. But yeah, I mean, the only real difference between our lists is he has 10 Assault Intercessors on foot, and I have 3 Centurions on foot. So Assault Intercessors are going to be faster. Do the Centurions do well in lag? Yes, I mean, this week my Centurions took 10 mortal wounds from explosions, dude. It was no joke. My Repulsor blew up and gave them 5 mortal wounds. I think my Impulsor blew up and gave them like 3 mortal wounds, and then something else blew up, I think. I'm sure they took 10 mortal wounds. Yeah, Gareth's like, when they don't die to explosions, they're good. But yeah, Centurions are amazing, actually, because they have twin-linked strength 12 weaponry, and they still get sustain 2 against monsters and vehicles. So if you get them in against monsters and vehicles, they are crazy good. Because like, what else in our codex has twin-linked strength 12, 3 flat, 3 damage, sustain 2, right? But yeah, so I think this sort of list, this is a very decent list. I felt like my list benefited from having the Centurions because it gave me one more unit that can really tangle with big, nasty monsters, vehicles. I mean, Centurions will kill, like, Terminators and elite infantry as well. Assault Intercessors on foot, unled, because that's what they will be in this list. They'll likely be unled. I feel like they are fine. I don't think they're an amazing unit. I guess they can bully, like, side field objectives and potentially other enemy minimum size units. But this is a decent list. If you're running Blade Guard 6, Sanguinary Guard 6, Death Company 10, Chaplain, Dante, Astaroth, this is obviously strong. Unless the points radically change on Thursday, I should probably mention that new points are probably coming out on Thursday. So I'll probably be trying to do a stream on Thursday to cover the new points. But unless the new points radically change things, I am going to be changing too much with my list. I kind of think probably what's going to happen is I think Sanguinary Guard might go down like 5 points a model. I think Jump Intercessors might go up like 5 points per unit. So basically, at the end of the day, I think there'll be very little changes. Like, a few units will go up 5, a few units will go down 5. The one outlier is the Death Company Dreadnought, who's massively overcosted. But if... I feel like that one might fly under the radar and he might just remain massively overcosted. Is it a good idea to make 20 Jump Death Company plus Lamartas and Astaroth from the new Blood Angels box? I mean, it's not a bad idea. You could definitely run 10 with either Astaroth or Lamartas. That's really strong. Whether you want to run 20 is really up to you. I think you can. For a long time, I think if you're going to run 20 Death Company, it might be hard to fit Sanguinary Guard in at the current points cost as well. But I guess we'll find out, right? It depends if you're going to have any shooting in your list. Because if you don't want shooting, and you don't have to take shooting, you could probably run the Sanguinary Guard plus 2 10-man Death Companies. What do you think is the most important unit for Blood Angels? At the moment, Brad, thanks so much for being a member of 17 months. Do appreciate it. At the moment, I think Sanguinary Guard, Blade Guard, and Death Company are still all super strong, right? I think they can all get a lot of play. I can think they can all be really good. I'm actually really loving Dante at the moment. They only made like a couple of small changes to Dante, but his main weapon now is really, really good on the charge, right? Like, they changed the strength of his weapon to... It was 7, it's now 10. So essentially, on the charge, he gets 9 attacks, hitting on 2s. If the enemy, for some reason, is, like, making you -1 to hit, well, he cancels that out, because he's got the +1 to the hit roll. So he's hitting on 2s, cancelling out a -1 to hit, and he is strength 10 AP 3 with lethals. So he's got, like, a strength... So strength 10 is a power fist, essentially. So he's got an AP 3 power fist with lethals and 9 attacks with a +1 to hit. I'm actually really liking Dante. I mean, in the game I just played this week, he killed an 800-point Stomper, and then he went on to like murder another whole squad of guys, and then he performed an action giving me 10 victory points. So, if you don't have, and the new Dante model is sick. Like, I'm working on mine. I need to finish painting him, but he is sick. He looks really good. So, if you don't have Dante, I would get Dante right now. I think we'll see Blade Guard in more lists. Do you know what? Impulsors are also super, super strong for Blood Angels right now. We have like 4 amazing units that can go in Impulsor. Assault Intercessors plus a Captain, Captain plus Company Heroes, Blade Guard plus a Chaplain, Blade Guard plus a Judiciar. All 4 of those unit choices, and you could do any choice of take as many or as little of those choices as you like, and fill up the Impulsors. And bear in mind, you can actually have more than 3 Impulsors in an army because they are dedicated transports. So you could have 5 or you could have more. But I think Blood Angels with Impulsors, I think Impulsors, they're so cheap, right? Like 80 points. They have 11 wounds and toughness 9 and an invuln save, so they need dedicated fire put into them. And the change to tank shock means they can kill stuff as well. I think Impulsors are super good right now. I have 1 in my list, but I have a second one with Mike, who's in chat right now, who's commissioning. If you haven't checked out Mike's Mike on Twitch, he is on Twitch like every week. He's painting a second Impulsor for me right now. He may end up painting a third Impulsor for me because I think I think Impulsors are just that good, man. They just work really, really well for Blood Angels. They're so strong. Remember all the Rhino Rush that like Corrin always used to do? Imagine that's what it feels like for Blood Angels. I just think maybe it's because they've got the invulnerable save, so people don't want to shoot your Impulsors, and then they end up lingering around, and they end up doing actions, and they end up scoring points, and then they end up tank shocking, and then they end up killing some models. It's like I played Eldar one time, and I swear my Impulsor killed like 20-something Eldar on its own because the Eldar player didn't want to like dedicate his D cannons to killing an Impulsor, but he couldn't get rid of it otherwise. Okay, Nogasan is the next list. He's trying to come up with a competitive list, and this is what he's got. We've got Dante, we've got Judiciar, we've got Lamartez, we've got Librarian Terminator Armor. Librarian Terminator Armor has the Fight First enhancement, which I think is a good shout. Like you could put that Fight First enhancement on a lot of units. It is indeed Mike Chili. That's the one. Yep. He painted. Mike did the commission where he did my Leviathans. Not my Leviathan. My Tarak Siege Drill. That's the one. I'll get there eventually, yeah. Okay, so we've got Assault Intercessors with jump packs times 3. We've got Blade Guard times 1. We've got Brutalis Dreadnought. We've got 10 Death Company. We've got the Infiltrators. We've got the Redemptor Dreadnought. We've got the Sanguinary Guard. And we got the Terminator Squad. Interesting list, right? Like, we got 2 Dreadnoughts in there. Redemptor and a Brutalis. So they're kind of the same points as, like, if you'd gone double tanks or something. But the Dreadnoughts have this sort of melee threat. So your Dreadnoughts are going to try and get into melee. Whether or not they make it across the board and get into melee, I guess, is another question. Not too many people are taking that, but I mean, it is possible to get those Redemptor Dreadnoughts, Brutalis Dreadnoughts across the board into melee. Infiltrators are good. The Death Company, the Blade Guard. We're seeing like Blade Guard with a Judiciar or a Chaplain, Death Company with Astaroth or Lamartez, Dante typically with the Sanguinary Guard now, the Librarian with the Terminator Squad, the 2 Dreadnoughts, the Assault Intercessors with jump packs. It's all good. This is a good list. It's interesting, right? Because like my gut tells me that a Brutalis and a Redemptor are weaker than, let's say, Double Lancer, and the so-called approved meta, or the meta that people have assumed is the strongest, is that Double Lancer. And I guess the reason for that is if you had 2 Dreadnoughts that you're trying to move across the board, your opponent player has the exact same list, but he had 2 Lancers, turn 1 he would use both lancers to take out one of your dreadnoughts. Turn 2 he would use the other lancers to take out the dreadnoughts again. And then, you know, that's why the lancers are assumed to be stronger. But if the opponent doesn't have lancers, you're running 2 dreadnoughts against them. One dreadnought's got -1 damage. One dreadnought can do 12 mortal wounds on the charge. It's something they need to deal with. Then it's pretty interesting. Like, the Terminators will be in reserve. Potentially the Death Company or the Sanguinary Guard could be in reserve. All other units are strong units. They're the sort of things that we would see. I mean, we've got 3 units that can perform actions. That's one of the reasons that I like the Impulsor, because I feel like it's a double thing. Like, it's providing wounds, it's providing actions, it's providing some killing if it's ignored. So potentially this list is a little bit shy on action units, right? You've got your 3 units of jump intercessors. I feel like I typically recommend 4 to 6 action units. I guess this is 3. When I talk about action units, I don't typically include the infiltrators or the unit that's going to sit in the backfield objective, because they can't leave that backfield objective, right? There's no way to sticky it. They have to sit there. Very rarely can they come off that backfield objective. So I think, like, all your scoring units then are 3 units of assault intercessors, and my experience tells me that I usually like to trade with a couple of units of assault intercessors. Would I put the missile launcher on the Impulsor? No. The strength of the Impulsor is because they've got that 5-up invan and it can spike. I really don't think it's like a single shot missile launcher is worth it. Because sometimes, right, like, I think a few weeks ago I got shot with like a volcano cannon on the Impulsor, and it was like a low chance to save on a 5-up. But I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to CP this and try and save the Impulsor on the 5-up. Because if I do save the Impulsor on the 5-up against an AP5 volcano cannon, it means he has to waste a whole other turn of shooting to try and take out the Impulsor. And I'm happy for you to spend your 500-point knight to have to shoot an Impulsor for the 3rd turn in the game or something like that. Yeah, okay. The rocket launcher is garbage, man. It's a single crack missile. I mean, it's actually got I think crack missiles might be strength 9 now. Yeah, it's not great. I think the shield, you just want to take the shield dome every time. You give it the extra bolter. You give it the stubber. It's got 2 storm bolters. So it's got 2 storm bolters and it's got a stubber. And if the enemy are within 12 inches, that gives you like 8 bolter shots and 6 stubber shots. So you get like 14 strength 4 no EP. I mean, like I said, that'll kill Eldar models. The combat patrol has been announced. Yes, it will be for sale this Saturday coming. 14 shots and 12 inches, strength 4 no EP. Yes, correct, I think, Mike, right? So yeah, this list is pretty good. The 2 question marks are the dreadnoughts. Obviously, the dreadnoughts are potentially seen as weaker choices to something like Gladiator Lancers right now. But I mean, I wouldn't run out and change this list, because this list can kind of okay, yeah, maybe. The one thing I don't like is that your Blade Guard are on foot, actually. I think Blade Guard really want Impulsor. Like, they just really love having an Impulsor. So could a Brutalis plus a Redemptor Dreadnought is like, what, 360 points? Is that right? 365. So if we take off 80 for Impulsor, 285, what could you do? 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts? I think if this was me, I don't overly love 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts because it's only 4 las cannons, it's only 4 crack missiles. But I think having the Impulsor for the Blade Guard would be my preferred choice. I like my Blade Guard to be at full strength when they get to the middle of the table. And I like to typically charge out of the Impulsor as well. Hydrate 6 Blade Guard with a Judicar and a Land Raider. I mean, it's good, right? I was running my Blade Guard inside a Land Raider all the way up until the last minute before I went to the GT, and I changed my list maybe like a month before I went to the GT. The cool thing, I suppose, about a Land Raider is you can kind of fit 2 units of Blade Guard inside it. But yeah, this isn't a bad list at all. I just feel like if it was me, if you change those dreadnoughts to 2 ballistas and you add the impulsor, you actually do like more than one thing, right? Because you get the Blade Guard across the board, you give yourself some of that long range anti-tank firepower, and you give yourself another action unit because the impulsor, the second it's unloaded the Blade Guard, or even before that, is an action unit, right? Like, it's quite often you might, like sabotage, you need to survive until the end of the next turn. Well, the impulsor is a pretty good unit for sabotaging enemy terrain pieces, right? Because it's pretty hard to kill an impulsor, and also it hides pretty nicely inside a terrain piece. At the moment, Eternal Crusader, I'm finding the Blade Guard led with the Chaplain with a Fight First enhancement is really awesome. Like, really, really, really powerful. And I'm going to continue to use that for a little while anyway.
Terrence Watkins donated $5 via Super Chat. Just did a small tourney with my teammates, went 2-0, but scored low on first win, so wasn't a top table. Last game with Index, will miss PFIP and SP.
Yeah, I think everybody will miss the Sanguinary Priest, the Power Fist, and Infernal Pistol. Congrats on going 2-0 at your event, Terrence. Thanks so much for the 5 Super Chat. Yeah, as much as losing the Infernal Pistols and the Power Fists and that kind of sucks, I guess it comes now down to like the speed and the advance and charge and the fallback and charge. And I think, at least in the games I've played, you can do just about as much as we could do before. I always found those fucking Infernal Pistols the swingiest thing in the world, right? The amount of times I would shoot like 10 Infernal Pistols with like +1 to hit or rerolls, and the opponent would only fail like 1 save. Feels like it happened all the time anyway, so yeah, we'll miss them. But were they all that impactful? I don't know. And also it was very difficult to actually get within the melta range on those pistols when melta range was only 3 inches, right? Gabono says Brutalis versus Assault Centurions with the 8-inch move plus advance and charge. Yeah, but I guess the question is, Gabino, is it's impossible to hide a Brutalis. It's very easy to hide 3 Assault Centurions, right? And I think that might be what it comes down to. Because I'm trying to think, like, I'm playing the Centurions and I'm really liking the Centurions. But then here's the thing, then Centurions do a lot more damage as well. So it's much easier to hide the Centurions, and they do a lot more damage. So I feel like the Centurions are the better of the two, even though they can be slow. They can be slow, they are fucking slow. Can you fit 6 Blade Guard and a Judiciar inside an Impulsor? You can, Hallowed End, because they FAQ'd it. It used to have a transport capacity of 6, now has a transport capacity of 7. I think that was an oversight when they made it, honestly. Okay, we're looking at Pete's list next. He has Dante, Astaroth, a Judiciar, that Blood Angels captain with an Infernal Pistol, a Power Fist, and Speed of the Primarch. What we got? We've got Jump Assault Intercessors times 3, unit of Infiltrators, unit of Company Heroes, most likely with that captain, unit of Blade Guard with the Judiciar, unit of Sanguinary Guard with Dante, unit of 10 Death Company with Astaroth. Sorry, brain's starting to shut down. It's Sunday night. I don't know why my brain is shutting down. A Land Raider Redeemer and a Gladiator Lancer. So I guess probably what he's trying to do here is put the Blade Guard and the Company Heroes and the characters inside the Lancer. We've got arguably like 4 scoring units again. The 3 Jump Assault Intercessors, potentially the Company Heroes could be seen as a scoring unit. The Big Death Company, the Big Sanguinary Guard, the Big Blade Guard. It's funny, a lot of people are doing the Blade Guard with the Judiciar. I think if you've tried the Blade Guard or the Judasar and think that's good, you need to be trying it with the Chaplain. Maybe I need to make a video on that. Maybe people don't realize how strong it is with the Chaplain. I thought I might have made a video on that. The Chaplain with the Judasar with Fight First is crazy good. Like we said, the Land Raider Redeemer is a little bit overcosted now. And also, when we talk about Gladiator Lancers, I do not recommend taking a single Lancer. I think a single Lancer is not strong. I think double Lancer is very strong. I think single Lancer is kind of weak. And I think the reason is that the single Lancer will more often than not fail to kill something. Because you only have 2 shots. So, yes, you get to reroll like a hit and a wound and a damage. But there's 3 rolls you've got to get through. And typically you're going to drop one at some point. So a single Lancer into an enemy Lancer, like if you were having a Lancer off, I feel like a single Lancer does something between like 6 to 9 damage to an enemy Lancer. So if you have 2 Lancers and you can fight and you shoot both at an enemy Lancer, you will probably kill it. If you have 1, you leave the enemy's tank half wounded, and then you know, it just doesn't work out well. I played against a Dark Angels player on stream. James is going to hate me if I mention this, because he'll probably... James Gibb played against me. He had a single Lancer. I think his Lancer failed to kill one of my Predator Destructors across like 3 turns. I think turn 1 it did like 6 wounds to it. Turn 2 it just failed to wound it. And then turn 3 I think he eventually killed it. Or maybe he didn't even kill it. Maybe turn 3 what it was I finally killed his Lancer. And so his Lancer, you know, he paid 160 points for a Lancer. What did he achieve? Well, he managed to take 6 wounds off my Predator Destructor. His Lancer cost more than the Predator Destructor. The Predator Destructor probably killed him back. So it just shows the fact... are we still expecting the new points on the 17th? On Thursday, man. Yeah, Thursday. That's when we're expecting the new points. So, yeah, if this was my list, I'd lose the Redeemer. I would get in an Impulsor. The Impulsor could take my Blade Guard, and I would add that second Lancer. I think that's much stronger. Like I said, I think the days of the Redeemer being super good are gone, and enough people are starting to take stuff
I have awoken
that is good at killing Redeemers, right? Like, I kept running into like enemies that are just like... Even Colin, who plays Death Guard, is now taking the equivalent of a Castellan just so he's got a volcano cannon so he can one-shot Land Raider Redeemers. So enough people are taking things that just... For 285 points, I think a Redeemer is super difficult to play. Do you have thoughts on strong units towards normal Land Raiders with do you have any thoughts towards normal Land Raiders with Captain's Assault Intercessors? I mean, the Captain plus the Assault Intercessors is a great combo. Whether you put it in a cheaper Impulsor, or whether you put it in a Land Raider, I guess is up to you. Like I said, yeah, like if you look at the last 3 games I've played on stream, I've played 3 games with Liberator Assault Group. I played against an Orc player who had a Stomper, so that'll probably one-shot a Land Raider. I played against a Death Guard player who had the Castellan equivalent. I forget what the Castellan's called for Chaos Knights. I don't play Chaos Knights all that often. And usually when you're playing Chaos Knights, they just have a ton of like War Dogs. They don't have the big knights. What's the big one called again? Is it the Tyrant? No, I don't think it's a Tyrant. The Spoiler? Nope. Someone will tell me. What's it called? Dominus. No, it's not Forge Worlds, is it? Is it the last one I click on? Well, of course it will be the last one I click on. Oh, I don't know what it's called. But like, if we just look at the Imperial Knight version of it, because it's got the same weapon, right? D3, Strength 18, AP 5, D6 plus 8, right? Is it the Tyrant? D6 plus 8. D6 plus 8. That's a nice weapon to have, isn't it? D6 plus 8. Yeah, maybe it's this one. Yeah, D6 plus 8. Strength 20 on the Tyrant. Okay, so like I played against a Nork player that had a Stompa, played against a Death Guard player that had this, and then I played against a Knight player who had a cast. There's a lot of things that just eat Land Raiders alive, and you don't even get to roll a save. So that's kind of why I moved away from Land Raiders. Like, Land Raiders with Las Cannons are good, Land Raiders with Flamers are good, but do they have like an innate weakness? Yeah. Friggin' AP 5 or boatload of Orc missiles at AP 4, I think it was, with. So yeah, this is a good, decent list, but for me, I would actually lose Land Raider. I think Impulsors are stronger for Blood Angels right now. I'd change this into double Lancer and an Impulsor. And you basically get the same thing. You actually get one more unit that can do actions. Someone asked... Someone asked about killing armor or something. Where was it? I'm sure someone asked something about an armor or big units or something. Can you ask the question again? Because chat's moved up and I was in a bit of a rant there about Land Raiders, I guess. Alright, Marius Berger is our next list, and he is a new member, so it's always nice to see some new green names in the chat. Thanks so much for coming, members, guys. Do appreciate it. He's got Astrath. I actually think maybe this is a list from last week, because I remember he made this mistake with... Or did someone else make this same mistake with Speed of the Primarch? You can't give enhancements to name characters. Terrence is asking, what do you use against durable units? So this week I used Sanguinary Guard, I used Oath of Moment, and I used Lethal Hits and Lance. And I reroll all my... Because Dante's leading my Sanguinary Guard, right? So my Sanguinary Guard are always hitting on 2s. So I roll all my dice, fishing for 6s, and then I pick up every single dice again that didn't roll a 6, and I roll them all again. Because I figure that, like, if you're... Like, I was fighting to Stompa, toughness 14. So Sanguinary Guard are only wounding on 5s, +1 to wound to let them wound on 4s. So I figure, like, I need every wound I can possibly get through there. So to do that, I roll, like, the 30 attacks, I get 6 lethal hits, I pick up the 24 dice, including a bunch that hit, and I roll them all again. And I feel like I get just as many 6s as I get 1s, so I just get a bunch more lethal hits. So basically I end up getting like 10 plus lethal hits. They are AP 3 on those lethal hits now, which is pretty good. I was going to say, yeah, that Sanguinary Guard get 30 attacks. So when you roll 30 dice, you should start with 5 lethal hits. And then if you roll all the dice again... So you should get 9 lethal hits statistically. And then because you hit on... But you will drop 4.5. So out of your 30 attacks, statistically, you will get 9 lethals, and you'll need to make like 17 wound rolls, so that give you 8.5. So the Sanguinary Guard will make a big unit, toughness 14 for example, have to take like 15, 16 saves at AP 3. So I'd usually try and shoot it, because I've got some las cannons on my list, So las cannons are super ineffective against toughness 14, but I do try and shoot it a little bit first. So shoot it a bit with some of my las cannons, then charge it with... And we haven't factored in Dante. Again, I'll fish for lethal hits on Dante, especially if I'm going into toughness 14 or something that I'm only going to wound on like 4s or 5s. I'm definitely just going to fish for all the lethals I can possibly get. If the point discount for Sanguinary Guard is 30 to 45, would you run 3 times 6? It's not going to be 30 to 45. No way, dude. I don't even think, touch wood, that they'll put it less than 45 points for Sanguinary Guard. There's no way they're putting them at 35. GW have a history of like dicking us over basically on Sanguinary Guard. They have not been able to balance them for like a decade at this point. They either have it where everybody runs 18 of them, or I guess it was 30 before. They basically either had a point where everybody runs 30 of them or nobody runs any of them, and there was literally no in between. If they're 35 or 40, at 50 they feel like you can't run more than 6, and unfortunately my gut tells me Games Workshop don't really want you running more than 6 Sanguinary Guards, so they're not going to be much more or less than 50. Matthew keeps asking for 100-point Death Company Dreadnoughts. I have a gut feeling that I don't think they're going to be less than 180. Maybe I need to do a stream of like the points that they should be, and then we can do a stream of like the points that Games Workshop put them at and how out of touch they are. But I don't want to be that person. Marius, I really think we did this list last week, but I guess we'll very quickly do it. We talked about double Ballistus Dreadnought being okay. I don't think it's great. We've got 3 scoring units in the unit of Infiltrators. We've got double Brutalis Dreadnought. I'm sure we did this list last week. Maybe you posted it twice. We've got 15 Death Company with jump packs. We've got the 6 Sanguinary Guard. We got the Chaplain on the bike. No, maybe we don't. I don't remember having a Chaplain on a bike leading Outriders. I wouldn't lead my Outriders. I don't think it's worth it. Especially when you're like, you've got 5 points free, so I would actually just lose that Chaplain on a bike and have a second unit of Outriders. I don't think the Chaplain brings that much to the Outriders. If it was me, I'd rather have the second unit of Outriders, for sure. You got the Captain with the jump pack. You've got Lamartes, you've got Astaroth. Oh yeah, no, this is different, I guess. So you've got Astaroth potentially leading the 10, Lamartes leading the 5, or vice versa. You got the Captain leading the Sandguard. You got 2 Brutalis. You've got a number of scoring units. You've got 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. Do you know what? This one's kind of unique, actually. This is a unique list. I don't think it's necessarily too bad for Dreadnoughts. 3 scoring units, the Infiltrators, the 2 Death Company, the Sanguinary Guard. If they don't deal with the Dreadnoughts, they'll get on top of them and start crushing them. The Bike Captain could be good for staying within range of the Death Company. I mean, he could, but you already got Astaroth and Lamartes, so I feel like he's kind of irrelevant. I'd rather just have the other unit of Outriders. I would run this list, I think. But I think if I was going to run this list, I would totally have 2 units of Outriders, or... Yeah, I mean, 2 units of Outriders, or I would lose that Chaplain and I would add an Impulsor, and then I'd probably lose one of these Brutalis Dreadnoughts, 160 points, and find 160 points of stuff we can put in an Impulsor. What could we put in an Impulsor for 160 points? Probably Assault Intercessors plus a Captain. Probably, we know that's very strong. You could do a small squad of Blade Guard plus a Judiciar plus Gift of Foresight or something that would be strong as well. But yeah, having that other unit would just give you, like, you are 1 scoring unit away from I feel like having a good number of scoring units. So the simplest change, I guess, is just get rid of the Chaplain, add an Outrider. Then you have 4 scoring units. A bit more in-depth change would be get rid of the Chaplain, add an Impulsor, add some shit that goes inside the Impulsor for one of the Brutalis Dreadnoughts. I think 3 Dreadnoughts is probably fine. We don't see too many people going for 4 Dreadnoughts, right? What was your question, Dave? Yeah, so sorry, Terrence. My thoughts on killing big stuff now is Dante plus a Sanguinary Guard can still do some good killing against big stuff. Having that AP3 does help a lot.
McFatson donated $5 via Super Chat. Not gonna submit a whole list, but consider the All-Star Tour. Every named character plus generic leaders all in a Land Raider with Tech Marine Escort.
McFatson, you just... I need to take a night off from serious play and run one of your lists. The All-Star Tour. Like what? One Land Raider with every single named character the Blood Angels can have inside it. Not leading anything, just by themselves. Do you know what? I miss the days when you used to be able to cast a psychic power on the... Because Blood Angels used to get a psychic power to give the vehicles invulnerable saves, didn't they? Gone are those days. Okay, Lamartis, he was here in the chat a little minute ago. I don't know if he's still here or if he's left, but he is our next list for tonight. He's got the Captain plus the Rage-Fueled Warrior. He has 5 Assault Intercessors and he is a Repulsor. You know, I like the Repulsor probably more than most people because it's so cheap. It's 60 points less than a Land Raider. I feel like if the enemy has a firepower enough to kill a Land Raider... No, let me rephrase that. I feel like if the enemy has enough firepower to kill a Repulsor, because a Repulsor is T12, if the enemy has enough firepower to kill a T12 Repulsor, they have enough firepower to kill a Land Raider. So at that point, you're just paying extra points for a Land Raider that's going to die at the same speed as your Repulsor is probably going to die, right? So that's probably why I like the Repulsor. And I was going to say, I've run the Repulsor to more 10th edition tournaments than I've run Land Raiders, honestly. We've got the Judasaur with Blade Guard. We've got another Captain with Assault Intercessors with the Power Fist and the Infernal Pistol. We've got another, so basically double Impulsor here. I suppose these Blade Guard could go in this Repulsor as well, because the Repulsor did get FEQ to hold 14. So we've got Assault Intercessors times 3, Captains times 3, Impulsors times 2, Blade Guard Judasaur times 1, 3 Jump Intercessors. We've got the Speed of the Primarch Fight First, Terminator Librarian. We've got double Lancer in the backfield, and then we've got Infiltrators. So yeah, I mean, it's not... I consider 3 Melta Boys and a Repulsor for my army. Seems decent. Yeah, the nice thing about the Repulsor as well is people can jump back inside it. It doesn't come up all that often, but you can gotcha the hell out of opponents, because not many opponents remember that characters can jump inside the Repulsor. So if your Repulsor is still alive and you've got a unit that you really want to survive, parking him close to them can actually be pretty legit. Just before we finish out on this list, if anyone could press the like button. We're on 101 viewers, we're on 59 likes, so if we could get up to 100 likes tonight, that would be super. So this is a very unorthodox Blood Angels list, right? Like, we have no Death Company, we have no Sanguinary Guard, but I do not think it is not strong, because Impulsors plus Captains plus Assault Intercessors are a fucking deadly unit. One of the best units that we have, just because they can do a lot of dev wounds, and they just get lots of rerolls to wound, and they get lots of range to charges coming out of Impulsors. Antonius, good evening. You maybe need to make sure your notifications are all set up. Hello, Marius. So, 3 units of those Captains plus Assault Intercessors are it's a very good unit. And then you've got the Blade Guard, so you're probably going to like hit each of their flanks with a Captain and Assault Intercessors. You're also going to basically dump 6 Blade Guard onto an objective with Fight First. You're going to have 3 units of Jump Intercessors to jump around and score stuff. You're going to have Lancers to take out long-range targets. You're going to have Infiltrators to keep your home field safe. And you're going to have a unit of Terminators with Librarian to potentially fight for... basically to dump on another objective and fight first and shoot with a sustained 1. The Blade Guard go into the repulsor with the captain and assault intercessors to challenge the middle. The two captains and assault intercessors and the impulsor challenge the two flanks. The Terminators in deep strike. The aim, I mean, when you think about it, you're challenging the middle with two strong melee units. You're challenging both flanks with a strong melee unit. You're challenging potentially their backfield with a strong melee unit. The aim is for the Lancers to target tanks or transports. If they're leaving one low, to use the free strat grenades for one of the captains to finish it off before assaulting the squad inside. But with three captains, that's a free grenade, Armor of Contempt, Red Rampage, a turn across 3 units, leaving CP to be used on the Blade Guard or Terminators. I mean, like I said, there's a bit of a weird list in that there's no Death Company, there's no Sanguinary Guard, but I don't think this is bad at all. Because people are going to be weak. Oh, I must have picked up one of the kids' raisins from the car. I just put my hand in my pocket and thought, what's that squidgy thing in my pocket? It's a raisin. Lovely. Probably Michael's, or maybe I didn't even put it in my pocket because I don't remember putting it in there. My kid has put a raisin in my pocket. How lovely. Lamartis, I've played 3 games with this list so far against Eldar, Dark Angels, and won all 3. Yeah, well, that's the thing. People are always going to have a weak flank. So if people are going to have a weak flank, then you'll dominate it with your captain, your assault intercessors, and your... Remember, you can tank shock with that impulsor. It's a planted raisin. Yeah, exactly. Hello, MacArthur. So you can tank shock with 9 dice with an impulsor. So potentially, statistically, what you should do 3 mortal wounds. You already got 3 grenades. So yeah, you could, if you've got that on both flanks, and then you've got something like that going into the middle. You got the Terminators and the Blade Guard where you need them. You got the Lancers, which will be pretty screened. You got the Jump Intercessors. You got the Infiltrators. Can only one captain free CP? No. The ruling with the captain is he can reduce CP cost by 1, but it's something that cannot. It has to be a unique CP. Has to be a unique stratagem for that turn. So one captain could let you use the grenades for free, and then the next captain could let you use Armor of Contempt for free. Then the next captain could let you use Red Rampage for free, right? You just can't use the same stratagem for free each time, right? But yeah, somebody said 3... It was actually you, Krychek. You said 3 units of the captain plus assault intercessors is too much. You know, it could be too much, but I honestly have been thinking about triple impulsor myself, just to try it. Just because I think triple impulsor could actually be a little bit obnoxious. I think, like I said earlier in the stream, we've got 4 amazing units that can go in impulsors. Blade Guard with 2 different character choices. Assault Intercessors or Company Heroes with the captain choice. So I think triple impulsor could actually be really strong. When you've got triple impulsor and 3 units of jump intercessors, you've got 6 units there that are going to perform actions the whole game, engage on all fronts, behind enemy lines, sabotage, whatever you want to call it. Only 1 captain per round can use the battle. Oh, right, yes, you're right. 1 captain per round can use this armory. Okay, yeah, so I guess it's just where you need it is good then. But yeah, I mean, I think if I was going to do triple impulsor, I don't think I would be doing... like... So I really like the Blade Guard with the Chaplain in the fight first. So I'd probably do that for 1 impulsor. Hey, Falk, hello. Give me a second and I'll answer. I would do like 1 captain with assault intercessors, and then I think I'd do 1 captain with the company heroes. So I would do it slightly differently, but I think that having played all those units, they're all really good, right? Have you considered putting the lieutenant with the Blade Guard instead of the chaplain? The chaplain is way ahead on damage, dude. Like, way, way, way ahead on damage, I feel like. I guess the lieutenant lets you fall back and charge again, right? But, like, the... fall back and charge. You've got a stratagem for fall back and charge now, right? Thoughts on the Exaction Squad variant with the Invun? Let's pull that up. I haven't looked at the Exaction Squad for I don't know if I've looked at it actually since the new codex came out, actually. Let's have a look. Thanks so much for being a member for 18 months, fuck. Exaction Squad. 90 points for 11 guys. Okay. They are toughness 3, 4-up save. 1 wound apiece. At the start of the battle, select 1 unit from your opponent's army. Each time this model in the unit makes an attack against them, you have lethal hits and precision. Okay. At the start of your command phase, if the bearer's unit is below starting strength, you can return D3. Once per battle at the start of the command phase, you can select 1 objective marker within 6. All enemy units within range must take a battle shock. Ranged weapons equipped by this unit have the ignore cover. So how do they get the invuln, sorry? Is it the medikit or something? No, that's the medikit's restoring D3. I'm not actually sure how you get the invuln on them. What is it that gives them the invuln, AFOC? Yeah, so the lieutenant has lethal hits, right? But here's the thing with Blade Guard is Blade Guard are often getting charged by like a greater demon or something. So if they get charged by a greater demon, let's say the greater demon is strength 11, like Angron. You know, like potentially into Angron you'd only be wounding on what? 6s? Because you're strength 5? Whereas with the chaplain leading and use of the CP, you can actually get that down to 4s. So I think the amount of hits that the Blade Guard get, potentially wounding something like Angron on 4s, is very, very strong compared to a handful of lethal hits, I guess. You can't get, you cannot get +1 to wound when charged, yes, and the chaplain gives you that all the time. Sub-doctors. Is this like a... Is this like a... Oh, right, Sub-doctor. It's a different squad. Sorry. Did you say doctor, or did I just interpret that as doctor? Laura says, I'm new to the hobby. I bought the new Death Company army box a week and a half ago. I'm not sure how best to do the war gear yet. I made a video. There's literally a video on the channel. Ohar. I don't know how you pronounce that name. But the video is probably this one. Starting Blood Angels from the Death Company box. I was gonna say let me just double check. Oh, I gotta watch an ad. Hold on. Yeah. That's how to build the models. There. Take a screenshot. Or go watch that video. Okay. Subductors. Okay, so subductors, each time a model of this unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if the model is not fought. Okay, 4-up fight on death. They have a 4-up invulnerable save. They're 85 points. How many models are you getting? 11 models. I mean, that seems okay. I'm thinking about like Vanguard veterans. You're paying 105 points for Vanguard veterans. They have 10 wounds. These guys have 11. They have the 4-up, and Vanguard veterans have +1 toughness on these guys. Obviously, they got more movement. They got better melee weapons. They got less OC, I guess, because these guys are OC 1. Once per battle at the start of the command phase, okay, they got the same rule as the other ones. They can make enemies take a battle shock. I mean, I guess they're fine. What are you thinking? Like, what am I missing, AFOC? What are you using them for? I mean, like, so they're 20 points cheaper than Vanguard veterans. They got 1 less toughness. They got a lot less movement. They got a lot less melee potential than the Vanguard veterans. Just using them for OC? as a unit that can sit on an objective. Good night, Almarto. Thanks for hanging out. Watch ads on your own money, on your own videos, infinite money. Glitch, yeah, if it was infinite money, RH, I'd just watch ads on my own videos all the time. Yeah, I use Savage Echoes when we're charged, right? To get +1 attack. You're right, VT. So you get +1 attack on the Blade Guard, so they go up to 30 attacks from the 6 guys. They go up to Strength 6, because you Battle Shock them. So they go up to Strength 6, then they're +1 to wound. So now they're wounding greater demons on 4s. You're re-rolling hits of 1. So you make your 30 attack. You fight first, you do 30 attacks, you re-roll your 1s, then you're wounding on 4s. And then whenever that combat's finished, you can actually remove the Battle Shock because of the Chaplain's rule, right? The Chaplain lets you remove Battle Shock at the start of any phase once per game. So if you really need, all of a sudden, let's say Angron charges on. I actually don't know what the OC of Angron is. I'm guessing he's like OC 5. Maybe it's more. So Angron's OC 6, right? So Angron charges on. Let's say your Blade Guard fight first. Then let's say Angron fights back. He kills some Blade Guard. If you need, for some reason, those Blade Guard to unbattle shock straight away to prevent your opponent scoring or something like that, once per battle at the start of any phase, you can select one that's dipped as a starter's unit. This is within 12. It's no longer battle shocked. So you could do that, like you do that after you've played the stratagem, just to prevent your opponent scoring, that sort of thing. Or you can do it So basically, like, you can take the negative part of Savage Echoes and you can counter it, right? For home field objective holders, I mean, I guess for home field objective holders, they're fine, dude. I just don't know why you wouldn't pay the extra 15 points and have the infiltrators. Because the infiltrators are just... The way I see infiltrators is they just let you turn your brain off. And your home field is, like... If you watch any of my live streams, you put the infiltrators down, you daisy chain them out 2 inches on your home field objective, and then you don't need to worry about them for the rest of the game. Nothing can deep strike in on your home field. It's completely safe. The only thing that they can really do against your home field objective is indirect fire, which has been nerfed pretty badly now. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, these guys are fine, but I feel like if it was me, I still just find it 15 points for infiltrators, because some armies have that, like, you're playing against Grey Knights, alright, you know they're just going to deep strike within 3 inches of you and kill you. So, I don't think it makes a big difference if you've got subductors. If they've got, like, a Nemesis Dreadnought, it's going to teleport within 3 inches of you, and it's going to kill a bunch of your models, whereas with infiltrators it just can't, right? If I have an irresistible urge to add knights to my Blood Angels army, what would the best way to do it? I mean, you either go for one big knight, like a friggin' Castellan, or I think you take, like, 3 Warglavies. The Warglavies are really good right now because their Melta didn't get nerfed nearly as bad as anyone else. I may be saying that wrong. I think it's Warglaves. Sorry. I don't play knights. So their Melta is Strength 12, AP 4, Melta 4. That's the thing that's crazy about them. You can put 3 of these in your Blood Angels list. T10, 12 wounds, 5 up save, 150 points. I mean, like, it's hard... You know, like, the Death Company Dreadnought at 220 points. I'd like to see how it actually did against one of these, because I feel like one of these could just one-shot it with the Thermal Spear. The Thermal Spear is really good. Canis Rex is a very good knight as well, yeah. I've played a tournament before where I took 3 Warglaves. I actually did pretty well. The other thing that's nice about the Warglaves is they're OC8. And their melee is not bad either. They had slightly different rules. Each time this model makes a charge move until the end, melee weapons are sustained 1. So you can do 8 attacks at -2/1 damage, sustained 1, or you can do 4 attacks at strength 10, -3/3 damage. And you are OC 8. So it's very easy to just toe onto an objective and be like, haha, that's my objective with my OC 8. Enjoy.
I have awoken.
AFOG, thanks so much for the membership. It was very kind of you, dude. You didn't need to do that, but I do appreciate it. Yeah. I was running, if you go back a year, I was running heavy intercessors on my home field objective. I thought, like, heavy intercessors are they're the dudes, right? Like, they were super, I guess back then there was a lot more indirect fire, and heavy intercessors were very good against direct fire because when they're standing on an objective, they got to ignore EP1 on 1 damage weaponry, or they get to add 1 to their armor save. That was it. So you're basically on a 2-up save, and you were in cover, so you're basically like 2-up save, in cover, toughness 5, very resilient against indirect fire, but people will still deep strike within 3 inches of you like those obnoxious Grey Knights and kill most of your squad. That happened to me one too many times, and it was like, yeah, as much as I like the heavy intercessors and think they're a really good unit, the infiltrators just feel like they're the safer play. Like, if you're trying to be competitive, because like I basically painted my heavy intercessors to put them in a drawer and never play them anymore. And like I only like painting units that are going to be competitive. I hate wasting my time on stuff that's like, I have like 4 drawers of my pile of shame, and the top drawer is like competitive units, and then below that it just gets like more and more competitive. So like Reavers and Suppressors are in that bottom drawer. Top drawer supposedly is like these new Primaris Death Company, etc., right? That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. So Lamartez, I like your list. I think it's good. I do wonder if 3 units of captains, based on the fact that, like people said, you can only use that stratagem on 1 model, is the wrong number. What's my opinion on the Invader ATV? It's one of the few models I don't actually have. I think there's like 2 Marine models I don't have. I think I don't have the Invader ATV, I don't have the Hammerfall bunker. I think I have everything else. I think the Invader ATV was probably okay. Oh, tactical warsuits. I don't have tactical warsuits either. I think the Invader ATV was probably okay when multi-meltas were somewhat decent. Right now, I think multi-meltas are a pretty crap weapon. Actually, don't even... Invader ATV is like 85 points. 70 points. Okay, they're less points than I thought, but still, I don't rate them at all. 2-shot multi-melta was okay. Like, attack bikes were 60 points, right? Yeah, I have Reavers. I actually have them painted as well. Reavers were the first close combat unit they released when Primaris came out. I thought they were going to be good. Your characters are not all like the transporters at the same time. Well, then that's maybe okay, Lamartis. I actually don't hate it. I just wonder if there might be a better option. I feel like I'd like to have some Death Company, or like to have some Sanguinary Guard. I mean, Death Company and Sanguinary Guard have historically been our 2 strongest units. They are probably still going to be 2 of the strongest units that we have with the new Codex. So I guess that's something to consider. Yeah, I feel like 2 shots from the multi-melta when multi-meltas could actually wound vehicles on like 3s or 4s was fine. 2 shots when multi-meltas are only going to wound the vehicles on 5s. You know, like you only hit on 3s, so you probably miss 1, then you fail to wound 1, and then you've done nothing. And you can't, like, one of the reasons the attack bikes were strong was because you would Oath of Moment them, and they would be in a squad of 3. Invader ATVs can't be in squads. And also, at one point, they could be revived. Invader ATVs can't be revived. I guess they've got 8 wounds. I mean, I guess... I don't know. I've yet to really run into anyone playing Invader ATVs and and felt to myself that they've been very strong. So the most you could take is 3. I mean, not many people take Eradicators, and Eradicators are arguably better because they can reroll all their hits and wounds, right? I think it's hits, wounds, and damage from Eradicators. So, like, one of the plays for land attack bikes was to bring them in reserve. If you're going to bring in a unit of Melta guys from reserve, I think you should be bringing in Eradicators. Invader ATVs. Yes, I know you can put it with 3 Outriders, but why would you? Like, Outriders are a melee unit, ATV is a shooting unit. Why would you mix those? Like, you want to be charging with Outriders, right? Really? You don't want your Invader ATV in combat. It can't shoot any of its weapons in combat, so why would you want it in combat? I mean, it can shoot its bolt pistol in combat because it's pistol. Are drop pods viable? We don't really see many people running drop pods at the moment. Again, the combo for drop pods was like Devastators mainly, and Devastators are not a thing anymore again because of the change to multi-meltas. How would you go about countering 6 Blade Guard with Fight First if you're using all melee Blood Angels list? That's a very good question. It's probably one of the reasons that Blade Guard are so friggin' strong, especially with Fight First. If you're using all melee Blood Angels, you do not have a great way of countering Fight First. You just don't. Unless you have Fight on Death, which we don't have for the most part anymore. I mean, like, you want to shoot them. You want to grenade them. You want to whittle them down some way. If you can't do that, then you're just going to take heavy losses from them. The only other way you can do it is if you do some shenanigans where you try and pile into them. Because if you can activate and pile into them, they wouldn't get the Fight First, right? Bentley says, hi, I just want to say thanks for making it easier for a new player to start my first army. You're more than welcome, Bentley. Thanks so much for tuning in and welcome to the channel, right? The Death Company aren't crazy high risk, dude, because you want to start them in reserve every single game. And then you bring them in from you bring them in using this rapid ingress stratagem, so you bring them in your opponent's turn, so in your turn, you can move 12 inches and almost guarantee a charge. Ignore the section of the board with the Blade Guard. Well, you can't engage them, Joey, you really can't. I did a video, occasionally I don't just do maths and stuff. There's this video, where is it? This one, Improve Your Fight Phase video, 5 months ago. I mean, it'll still be relevant. Watch this video, Joey. I'll put it in the... I'll put a link to it in the chat. I'll get rid of the timestamp because it'll try and start halfway through the video. Watch that video. There's some tricks on how you can counter Fight First in that video. Because there is ways like I said, there is ways you can combat a Fight First unit and you can fight before them if you know exactly what you're doing. It's not always possible to do, and it requires your opponents to have put them in some crappy positions, but I mean, if you know about it, it could help, right? Anyway, that's the end of the show this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for the 1,000,001 questions. Thanks for the super chats. Welcome to the new members. If you did get gifted a membership tonight, then please come over to our Discord room. I'll put it in the chat. We do have a members only Discord as well, so you can join us over there if you want to do that. I'll be back at some point this week. Hopefully we're getting new points on Thursday. So if we are getting new points on Thursday, I'll try and get a new video out on Thursday talking about the new points, all that sort of good stuff. Have a great Sunday night, guys. We'll be here next Sunday. I was going to say, I don't think there's any reason that I'm not going to be here next Sunday, so I will see you all then. And thanks so much for watching. If you want to, that was it. If you want to, I was going to say, if you were going to submit a list for review, maybe hold off till Thursday. Come back to the stream on Thursday and drop your list in the comments once we know the new points, because it would be good next week to maybe like draw a line on, like, so if you submitted a list before Thursday this week, and I haven't covered it. It would be great if you could submit it again with the new points. If the points change significantly. If not much changes, it's probably fine. But if things do change a lot, submit some new lists after Thursday would be greatly appreciated. Alright. See you guys soon. Thanks again. Good night. Ryan, thanks so much for the gifted. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
I have awoken.
I have awoken.